300.
Welcome in to I Remember My First Time. Oh, don't be nasty, Jacob. Not that first time.
Damn it.
This is a podcast about cinematic awakenings.
I like the sound of that.
Where we talk about the movies we love with someone who just popped their cherry to that movie.
Oh, that sounds delightful.
Jacob, are all the movies we do on this podcast going to be good movies?
God, I hope not.
Do we like shitty movies?
We love shitty movies. Sometimes even more than good movies.
Are we critics?
Absolutely not.
But do we love the shit out of movies?
Oh, we do love the fucking shit out of movies.
What cinematic masterpiece do we have on tap this week?
We have the 1999 Samuel L. Shark Attack classic. Samuel L. Jackson Shark Attack classic. Deep Blue Sea. The deepest, the bluest, the seaiest.
My hat is like a shark's fin.
Yeah.
Jacob, this podcast might violate the Harvard Genetic Acts.
BJ, you kill my bird.
I am brilliant shark scientist BJ Leica.
Joined as always by me, underwater cowboy, Jacob Ekus.
Joining us today, we have a special guest. We have my personal friend, a hell of a cook, a great woodworker, a disc golf fan, a self-described nerd. So nerdy, in fact, that he made a data program for a fantasy football draft. That's as nerdy as it gets. We have the person rounding out the trifecta of baldness on this podcast, one of the smartest people I know to talk about one of the dumbest movies I've seen, Nick Tagg. Nick, welcome in.
What's going on, guys? Hoping the program is going to actually give me better results in this year's fantasy draft because it has not yet worked out.
Well, I mean, it worked out better than me. I lost last season. So at least you didn't lose.
Very, very true. I'm hoping the Tim Tebow team is going to do a little better this year, though.
Hell yeah. I love that you love working with wood because here on this podcast, when we can't get some, we work the wood.
I've been doing it for years.
So, being your first time on this podcast, what's your relationship with the cinema?
Well, depending on where that specific line is drawn, I watch it a little bit more on my phone than I used to, I would say. But I'm not sure we're going to be digging too deep into those movies. So I think
Debbie Does Dallas is not going to be on this podcast.
Damn. I really brushed up on that genre here the last couple times. But
don't worry, I'm upset too. I just found out we're not doing Debbie Does Dallas.
Oh, damn. I'm a fan of the cinema, and this is right in kind of the heyday of kind of growing up, first introductions into kind of the scary movies in the late 90s, and I'm excited to dig in and talk about the classics.
A lot of people argue that 1999 is the greatest movie year of all time.
What else came out in 99?
Oh, get ready for this list, bro. It's fucking incredible. Fight Club, The Sixth Sense, American Pie, The Matrix, Austin Powers, The Spy Who Shagged Me, Eyes Wide Shut, The Phantom Menace, Blair Witch Project, Runaway Bride, The Haunting, the first Mummy movie, Wild Wild West. Can't wait for that movie on this pod.
Getting jiggy with it.
Patch Adams, The Green Mile, American Beauty, Talented Mr. Ripley, Dogma, Varsity Blues, 10 Things I Hate About You, House on Haunted Hill, You've Got Mail, Deuce Bigelow, Male Gigolo, Thin Red Line, Any Given Sunday, 8 Millimeters, and Saving Private Ryan.
Comedy writers were going nuts. And LL Cool J with two big movies, Deep Blue Sea and Any Given Sunday.
He was not an actor. He was a music artist.
And Will Smith destroying his career with Wild Wild West before smacking the shit out of Chris Rock.
Oh, he made tons of money after Wild Wild West.
Keep my name out your goddamn mouth.
So we have Deep Blue Sea, a movie described by HBO Max as, in her efforts to find a cure for Alzheimer's, Dr. Susan McAllister implants human brain tissue into sharks. The experiment backfires, producing a horrifying species of killer sharks with the capacity to think like humans.
And not just any humans. I would argue they have advanced engineering degrees to the point where they can try and sink an entire giant capacity like that. They were smarter than the dude from MIT or Caltech or wherever he was from.
They don't just have increased intelligence. They somehow gave them PhD degrees too.
They somehow advanced to knowing the exact way to sink a giant container without ever even being on the inside of it.
5.9 out of 10 on Rotten Tomatoes. Oh, I'm sorry, on IMDb.
Oh, that's an easy
That's
9.
too low.
That's way low.
59% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Still too low.
And 54% on Metacritic.
Get the fuck out of here, really?
Mhm.
Wow.
I feel like they definitely need to re-release it. How many critics were really reviewing it?
Well, the Metacritic score is actually pretty fucking good.
It's average.
For this movie, I think that's pretty good considering how bad it did on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yes. Yeah, usually the Rotten Tomatoes score is a lot higher than Metacritic.
I just think it's pretty good considering how bad it did on Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb.
Speaking of critics, the one we always do, the one, the only, the great Roger Ebert. What do you think he thought about this movie?
Well, he loved it.
You think Roger Ebert loved Deep Blue Sea?
Yeah. Because it's just a shark attack movie.
You are right. This is a thumbs up, 3 out of 4 stars from Roger Ebert.
I knew it.
Awesome. I knew he had great taste. That was Siskel and Ebert probably back then too.
Yeah, I think he was still writing reviews for the Chicago Sun-Times.
Yeah.
Is that who it was?
Yeah.
So in his review, sharks, it is said, are all teeth and muscle and have been doing 2 things efficiently for millions of years, moving and eating. Deep Blue Sea resembles a shark. It moves effortlessly, and someone gets eaten from time to time.
Everyone gets eaten.
Common sense, of course, has nothing to do with the screenplay. The movie is essentially one well-done action sequence after another. It involves all the usual situations in movies where fierce creatures chase victims through the bowels of a ship, spacecraft, building, the Alien movies, Deep Rising, etc., etc. It's just that it does them well. After slogging through the predictability of countless would-be action thrillers, I admire the sheer professionalism of this one, which doesn't...
We can't even go through that one.
Which doesn't transcend its genre, but at least honors it. Roger Ebert gave this movie a thumbs up.
Well done.
I could not believe that.
Well done. Yeah. Cinematic masterpiece. And only getting a 50%, yet getting a 3 out of 4 from Roger Ebert on a cinematic masterpiece. Well done.
And he's right. This movie gives you exactly what you should expect from this movie.
Everything.
Oh, yeah. That's how I knew Robert Ebert liked it.
Okay. So you're starting to understand him.
Yeah.
So we know what the critics thought. We know what the audiences thought. Most of them are wrong. Roger Ebert was right. How'd this movie do in the box office?
All right. So the budget was only, I say only, it had a pretty sizable budget for 99. $60 million. So for inflation, that's $105 million today.
Damn, it's a big budget.
Yep. Its opening weekend made $19 million from that $60 million back. So $33 million out of the 105.
Okay.
It did have a pretty decent international showing. So BJ, what do you think the gross worldwide was?
So without inflation, probably around 100 million. So with inflation, maybe 160, 170.
So domestic without inflation did 74 million.
Wow.
International did 91.
Woo.
So altogether, without inflation, 99 had $165 million.
Sharks travel well.
Yeah. Today, that's 289 million.
I just can't imagine going into a studio saying, I have an idea for Genius Sharks. Can I have $100 million to make this movie?
Worked well for Jaws.
Did.
And that's why it worked well here. Because it's just like, oh, yeah, we've made a lot of money from those 3 Jaws movies. You want to make a shark movie?
I've got an idea. Let's put sharks in tornadoes.
Dude.
Fuck yeah.
And I think a lot of people our age, kind of early, mid-30s, love this fucking movie.
Great Samuel L. Jackson movie.
Oh, yeah.
It definitely goes on his list.
I think this might be my first Samuel L. Jackson movie.
Okay, yeah, because you're so...
I was
yeah,
born in 92.
Pulp Fiction.
Oh,
Wow.
yeah, so you weren't watching Pulp Fiction when you were 8.
No.
So you were watching this when you were 7, though?
Yeah, 7 or 8, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, my parents got divorced when I was 9.
My
So it was
7-year-old
9.
My 7-year-old has a lot different taste in movies.
Yeah, as soon as my parents got divorced, my dad was like, here's Gladiator, Desperado, and Rambo. And I'm like, awesome.
Your dad has great taste in movies. I don't know your dad, but he has great taste in movies.
And that started it all. So
let's talk about our reviews of this 1999 classic. Nick, you want to start us off with what you thought of The Deep Blue Sea?
So it's been I've seen it a few times. I've seen it obviously when it came out, long hiatus between there, showing the age, and then I decided to watch it. This was actually the first movie I watched while high.
Okay.
Connected on an entirely different level. This was
Is this college, high school?
Transitional, like 6 months ago.
This was the first movie you watched high?
This was the first movie I watched. I did a lot of other things.
Okay.
While I was high. I wasn't usually the sitting around
Okay.
watching movies type. And then I watched it again just recently, in just an absolute masterpiece.
yes.
Great deaths, great script, great plot, great everything. And just, I mean, I give it a solid 8.5 out of 10 pretty easily.
It is a very fun movie.
Yeah, this movie is incredible. Like I said, I remember watching this the first time, and it was awesome. I loved LL Cool J the first time I watched it, and this time I loved him just as much. I didn't remember Thomas Jane as much, and then I watched it, and I'm like, okay, there's my Punisher guy, the original Punisher.
Young hunky Thomas Jane.
Yeah,
Punishing some sharks.
yeah, yeah. And I always love a good Michael Rappaport movie. Nice little side character every time he's on screen. And just the fucking sharks were incredible. Loved how smart and violent they were. Like, it's just a fun fucking movie.
Why is Rappaport and Cool J's chemistry so good in this movie? It shouldn't be this good. It's fantastic.
I think Rappaport has good chemistry with anybody he's on screen with.
They needed a good buddy cop. He needed to be in a good buddy cop movie with LL Cool J. Walking away from this after watching it, I'm like, I would see those two in a buddy cop.
Oh, sign me up.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
That's a good idea for a movie.
Oh, for sure.
Do it.
I loved this movie the first time I watched it too, and I knew it was stupid. And I watched it recently, and I knew it was stupid, and I still loved it.
That's my thing. Like, as long as you know what you're getting into, like, that's how I knew Roger liked it, because it's like, it's a stupid shark movie. It's like the first time I saw The Love Guru. Like, everybody hated it, and they're like, it was so dumb. I was like, hold on. You're watching a Mike Myers movie, and you expected it not to be dumb? No wonder you didn't like it.
You're walking into this, and this is the classic movie of you're walking into it looking for a kind of funny, entertaining. You're not going to be scared because, you know, you're afraid the sharks are going to come eat you, right? This isn't a Nightmare on Elm Street. This is you're going to be entertained, and it's just an overall fun movie. Whatever the runtime is, hour and a half, 2 hours of just good, solid movie that you know you're going to remember. You're going to have a good time.
I think it's an hour 44 or something like that, but 4 minutes of it is LL Cool J song at the end,
which you have to stay. That's better than, I mean, between this and a Marvel movie, you're staying through the credits, right?
Yes.
You're staying through the credits in order to listen to that masterpiece.
So we recently did Nightmare on Elm Street on this podcast. I kind of think this is a better horror movie than Nightmare on Elm Street.
There's no kinda. This is a better movie than Nightmare on Elm Street.
Better horror movie?
Is that what I said?
You just said movie, but...
Well, yeah. It's both.
Okay,
it's a better movie and a better horror movie.
Now, much higher budget.
Yes.
But I was I had more of the horror movie jump scares and edge of my seats
Well, and
in this than I did Nightmare on Elm Street.
I'm sure this has a much higher budget than the original Halloween, and it's very akin to that. Like Michael Myers just coming at you with everything he's got, and that's what these sharks were. And it was fucking scary.
To be fair, there's 3 sharks. There's only one Mike Myers.
That's true.
Never know which direction they're going to come out of you. And I will say, the sharks were definitely smarter than Mike Myers.
Yeah. 100%.
And you're not at home field advantage when you're in the water with a shark. You're not out swimming that thing. Not a chance.
That was one of my favorite little scenes by Rappaport. He's like, humans swim 6 feet per second. Sharks swim 50 feet per second. We're not fucking making it.
Great advice. Great advice.
I don't know if those are the actual numbers, but they're pretty fucking close.
I think it was 2.
Yeah.
I think it was 2 and 50.
Yeah.
So,
I think
yeah,
it's
something
2 and
like
50.
that.
Which I will say, in some scenes, the sharks were definitely topping out at that 50 feet a second.
Yeah.
They were hauling.
Oh, for sure.
They were hitting that boat with what is it? Ship, whatever, floating science lab.
Rotunda, whatever it was.
They were hitting it with some force.
Yep.
Sure.
What did you not like about the movie? Jacob, I'll start with you.
The intro was a little long.
Okay.
I didn't need that much. I didn't need anything outside of the lab.
I feel that.
The office scene with Samuel Jackson and the scientist. I didn't need that. This is no fault of the movie. It's 1999. We're not where we are now. Some of the CGI was a little wonky, but I don't fault the movie for that. Like when the shark jumps out of the water and snatches Samuel Jackson, clearly fake.
I find it kind of charming. I find the bad CGI a little charming in this movie.
That was probably my favorite scene, though.
Oh, yeah.
And by far the best death scene in that entire movie.
Yes.
Was the Samuel L. Jackson.
Agreed. I liked everything else.
Nick, anything you didn't like about it?
I gotta say, I loved just about every bit of it. I will say that the aspect of having the skeleton crew on the weekends and only having the smartest people there, like I've seen more people in a vet than I've seen that were running one of the most prolific science experiments of all time that were sitting there on a weekend, like in the middle of this lab, in the middle of whatever it was.
And then you can really focus on those horror elements to it because you don't have 180 people running around.
For sure. And I will say, having no security whatsoever was an excellent call out. You've got a cook, you've got all of the scientists, but there is not one single security person on that entire boat. And just this random, tower controller at the top that doesn't talk to anybody, but just does weird dances. This is awesome.
This is like, hey, we have 2 hurricanes coming. We're all good.
We got this. We got this.
We're in a floating apparatus. It's all gravy.
We got this. And I will say the other aspect too, the response time from the helicopter, awesome. Guy gets his arm bit off, and before they can even spin the propellers on the chopper, right, they're already there, right? I can't call 911. There's a police station a mile from my house. They won't get here by the time that chopper made it out in the middle of a fucking hurricane.
Yeah, I want to know where they're at in the middle of the ocean.
And were they, because they were speaking Spanish, was that some like Mexican military operation? Because it didn't seem Coast Guard-ish.
Definitely not. I would say because they were what, in the Gulf? I think that it was because
I don't know if it ever says.
It was a Louisiana.
I don't think it ever says
it was
either.
a Louisiana license plate in the shark's mouth at the beginning. So I gotta think it was like somewhere in the Gulf.
It's actually the license plate they pulled out of Jaws. Do you notice that?
I saw that. I saw that.
Yeah.
I gotta second what Jacob says about it. It takes this movie a good 30 minutes to really get rolling. And the first initial scene is great where, the horny teenagers are about to have sex when the monster attacks. Thomas Jane saves the day. It's like, oh, cool. And then I think they tried to show off the floating science lab like it was cool, and it wasn't that cool. It certainly wasn't 25 minutes of the movie cool. I kind of wish they'd have sped that up a little bit.
Fun fact to make you change your mind: those girls are now 50.
That's fine.
50. They like the horny teenagers at the beginning. Now I look back, I'm like, oh, now they're maybe grandparents. Like, there's just something weird about that still for me.
That's life.
So we're on agreement here. This is a good movie.
Excellent.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Incredible movie.
Yeah.
Excellent movie.
BJ,
Yes, sir.
our movie related talk. Introduce us. What is it?
This is a phenomenon that happened around this time. I think it's a good movie to get into it. I refer to it as the blockbuster horror or the big budget horror movie, or, kind of using those horror elements to expand upon the genre and make it a little more suited for everyone.
Mm-hmm. Everybody likes a shark movie.
Mm-hmm.
Not everybody likes horror.
Correct.
And you can combine those elements here. What other blockbuster horror movies do we have?
So I think the first one that comes to mind for me is Aliens.
Okay.
The Ridley Scott, Sigourney Weaver Aliens.
No, Aliens is James Cameron.
Sorry. James Cameron.
Because I think Alien is more akin to a horror movie,
Mm-hmm.
whereas Aliens is more of the blockbuster horror that you're trying to get to.
Jurassic Park does it.
Mm-hmm.
Scream stays a little more in the traditional horror, but it's a big budget. It's a big budget movie. This time they went with a lot of these goofy ones: Anaconda, Piranha, Lake Placid.
Anaconda's incredible.
Sharknado.
Yeah. Sharknado goes a little over the top in its goofiness, but
A little.
that might be the understatement.
Yeah.
Well, and how big is the budget on Sharknado?
I don't
Which-
think it's that big.
Which one? You're talking. They have
There
six.
is six.
There are
Yes.
6.
Why are there 6?
And there's 3 Deep Blue Seas. Fun. I don't know why they decided to remake this 2 more times.
Did not know that. Have not loved the first one. Didn't know 2 or 3 existed.
There's 2 more.
They're not worth watching, are they?
I have no idea. they remade them in like 2018 and 2020.
Jeez.
Long wait. Long wait.
I mean, we're still trying to cure Alzheimer's, so it makes sense to me.
I thought they almost had it.
That close.
Almost had it. Lightning in a bottle. So if you're ranking of the shark movies, of the Sharknados, of the 3 Deep Blue Seas that we now know of, and was there 1 Jaws? Was there multiple?
There was
Jaws.
3
There
Jaws.
were 3 Jaws. I mean, trilogy-wise, where does this go in that? Assuming that they
Ugh.
stopped making after 3 Sharknados.
The worst Sharknado is better than the worst Jaws, and I'm assuming better than the worst Deep Blue Sea. I don't know.
Well, yeah, because
That's
you're expecting Sharknado to be horrible.
Yes.
Whereas when you're watching the 3rd Jaws, you're like, this is going to be pretty good.
When the sharks decided to go to space, or they put chainsaws on your cut off limbs in order to start cutting through sharks, I think you're kind of going for that next level.
That's akin to another good blockbuster horror, Planet Terror.
Oh, Robert Rodriguez.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you reminded me of that with the chainsaw on limbs.
The chainsaw on the arms. Yeah,
Have you seen Planet Terror?
I have not. No.
I don't know what assault rifle it is, but she gets her arm chopped off, or she gets her leg chopped off by zombies, or it gets bitten, so they chop it off so she doesn't get infected.
Makes sense.
They attach an assault rifle on her leg, on her limb, and now she can just shoot zombies.
She was definitely in Texas.
Yes.
I think it was.
Definitely.
Yeah.
No,
Definitely in
the
Texas.
Planet Terror happens in Texas
For sure.
at a barbecue joint.
That would not go well.
Franklin's.
That would not go well in California.
No.
So, do you like the big blockbuster horror movie?
Oh, yeah. Make more of them. They're fun. The cool thing about blockbuster horror movies is they're not really super scary. So, again, anybody can get into them.
Sure. Like you said, you watched this movie when you were 9.
Yeah.
Because I don't think this movie's scary, but it's still a horror movie, if that makes sense.
It's kind of one of those just kind of jump out and get you, not one of those it's going to give me nightmares for sure.
Yeah, and
jump scare.
it's edge of your seat thrilling, too.
We like them. We like the big blockbuster horror movie.
Make more of them.
Sure. Anaconda's fun, too.
I love Anaconda.
I would say I would do cosplay for Deep Blue Sea and just get the shark and just kind of like the Super Bowl, the shark that didn't know how to dance, right? I mean, that's
The Katy Perry shark?
absolutely the Katy Perry Super Bowl shark just run around in Deep Blue Sea cosplay.
That's amazing.
I don't think that's going to get a lot of hits on TikTok.
Yeah, but you'll never unsee it right now.
I think it'll get a lot of hits. That's some stupid shit people would watch.
Y'all ready to go deep dive into this movie?
Let's go.
I mean, the title is Deep Blue Sea, and I want to get as deep as possible.
Yes.
Like, I've been balls deep before. I'd like to get deeper.
Wait, are we talking
You'd like
about
to get
our
Blue
first time
Sea
again?
deep?
100%.
We're talking about our first time?
So this is our Mount Rushmore of scenes. Jacob, what's your fourth favorite scene in Deep Blue Sea?
So my fourth favorite scene is the elevator shaft scene. I mean, it was an elevator. I was about to say it wasn't really an elevator, but it was.
It was.
Yeah. It was an elevator
It
shaft.
was an elevator shaft.
Got the size of your balls line in that. I was like, what are you talking about? Real big, the size of your brass balls. Michael Rappaport, love that. What's the director's name?
Remy Harlan.
Remy Harlan, also the director of Cliffhanger, and you had the cliffhanger scene in that scene too.
Die Hard 2 director as well.
Yep, when he was trying to get homegirl from being eaten by the shark, suspended on the ladder. That's Stallone trying to save the girl from falling down the cliff. And I love Cliffhanger. So yeah, that's my fourth favorite scene. Real easy.
Yep. Nick, fourth favorite?
Fourth favorite for me was probably the scene with the guy in the stretcher breaking the glass. Right, when he's coming in and they look out and they're like, what is that? And you see this thing off in the distance and you can't really make out what it is, and it's slowly getting bigger and building, and then you make out that it's a guy that doesn't have like one of those 20-cent like masks to give you oxygen. For some reason, they gave this guy a full-blown scuba mask.
Oh, because
he's got one arm that he's been sitting underwater for like 30 minutes.
Oh, he was underwater at least 6 minutes.
At least. But he's got the full scuba mask and can still look through the salty seawater and look through the tempered glass because light can flow through somehow. And saying goodbye to his wife as she's crying in horror that a shark didn't eat him, but is now using him as a projectile to break through the gigantic glass wall that for some reason they decided to put in the middle of the ocean down 4 floors.
And that was one of my favorite horror movie tropes too, because they're all fucking scientists and really smart people. You understand how water pressure works, and they're just sitting there looking at this glass like it's not gonna fucking break.
Who came up through this fucking idea?
Yeah.
Who built this?
Well, when shit hits the fan, your brain kind of
true.
Kind of stops working, and that's kind of what happens in this scene. This is when they freak out. Like, yes, they're trying to get Stellan Skarsgård on the chopper, and yes, they're worried.
Had he had just died, probably would have been, worried. But like now, it's like, oh, the sharks are coming.
Yes,
like now we're fucked.
They're using tools. The sharks learn to use tools. My first favorite scene, I already mentioned it. It's really short. It's the horny teenagers and the monster showing up.
Okay.
You're the typical horror movie trope. And Thomas Jane saving the day. Looking very Paul Walker-ish in this movie.
Great start.
Yeah.
Didn't realize Thomas Jane was so hunky as a young man.
Well, it's funny you keep saying hunky too. My girlfriend watching this, she's like, it's funny the difference between what was attractive in 99 and what's attractive now, because he's got a very like runner type body. She didn't even think it was that hunky. He's just obviously in shape and muscular and whatnot, but like she wouldn't call him a hunk.
Oh, I thought he was hunky.
That's okay. You like Thomas Jane.
Yeah.
No comment, Nick.
I'm just out of this.
But I just loved it. I just loved how it's set up with that scene.
They let you know what you're in for right at the beginning.
Yes.
My third favorite scene, I'm gonna cheat a little bit. It's every LL Cool J scene until he teams up with the group. All of LL Cool J's solo stuff.
What about the conversation he has with Samuel L. Jackson?
Oh, I count that too.
Okay.
Yeah. You the brother that almost died on the avalanche. Black people got enough weird shit killing them. You keep that weird shit that white people do to themselves. I love the parrot. Some insults the parrot did. Fat butt, dickhead, eat me asshole. Awesome.
Which you've worked in restaurants before.
Yep.
If a chef had a bird, that's what it would say.
That 100%. That's what it would say. I loved him drinking. He's just like, oh my God, I'm so alive. I'm going to start drinking. And then shit starts happening. He's like, all right, I'm taking the sign, Lord. I'm not drinking no more. Fuck. Just LL Cool J. Like, this movie would have been cool without Cool J, but he took it to another level. My third favorite scene is everything he does before he teams up with the group at the end.
I think Cool J elevates this movie more than anybody else.
Yes.
I think he was drinking sherry too.
Yes.
With nasty shit.
Yes.
Just nasty.
Yeah, but if you think you're about to die,
I'm going to go for some different stuff. If you remember, there was a birthday party scene in there. They had liquor. I don't know why you're drinking sherry.
Yeah. Well, but and then like BJ said, if you've ever worked in a restaurant, there's always sherry.
yeah, that's what the cooking
sure.
water.
There's always sherry.
And that's why
you
it
know
tastes
that
so
being
bad.
being a cook, you know that. Like I loved him grabbing the Playboy, grabbing the frying pan whenever he's getting ready to fight. Like, what are you gonna do with the frying pan? It's a fucking shark. Like all of LL Cool J stuff before he teamed up was just gold.
But you got to remember, though. I mean, what are you going to do with a frying pan? He ended up stabbing the shark with his chain in order to get
his
left.
cross chain.
Like that's the great thing about these movies. You could use just about anything and still kill a
I
shark.
kind
It's
of
amazing.
wanted to see how he would kill a shark with a frying pan.
Yeah. I loved him just like, I'm not Daniel facing the lions in the fucking lion den.
That was actually my third favorite scene. Was another L.
Oh, go into
Go
it. I'm
ahead,
done.
go ahead.
mine.
Was when he goes into the oven,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And he's sitting there. He's got the axe, right? And the shark, which is a genius, turns on the oven, which is fantastic. My wife can't figure out how to do it, but the shark did. So he ends up going
Again,
in.
not intelligence. That's
No,
knowledge.
She can't listen to this podcast. So he goes at it with the axe, going from the bottom oven to the top oven in record time, mind you, with a tiny little axe like cutting through into the top oven, jumping out and lighting the match and just blowing the
Zippo lighter.
Mhm.
Zippo
The most
lighter.
1999 thing in the movie was the Zippo lighter.
Oh, it's fantastic. So that was
you killed my bird.
That was
Great
by
one-liner.
far one of my favorite scenes.
So
your third favorite.
my third favorite scene is the Saffron Burrows stripping down to the bra and panties,
Mhm.
standing on the wetsuit for insulation,
You knew it was a matter of time.
and electrocuting the shark.
It was a matter of time before they stripped her down.
Oh yeah, I was waiting for it the entire movie. I'm like, when does she get borderline naked?
Well worth the price of admission for the record.
But I also thought that was probably the best acting that was done in the movie. You know, there's not a lot of dialogue in it, but you can tell what's going through her head,
Sure.
and knowing what she did was wrong, and
Sure.
she's got to fix it, etc., etc. I really enjoyed the scene. Plus, the shark got electrocuted.
Absolutely. She put on that wetsuit in record time on her way out, too, by the way.
Wetsuits are a
Shark
pain
dive.
in the
Oh my
ass to
God,
put
they're
on.
terrible. Those things take 20, 30 minutes. I
Yeah.
mean, going back to the helicopter, man, it would have taken me longer to put a wetsuit on than it did for that helicopter.
For
to get-
sure.
to get over there.
That was a good scene. That was incredible. My second favorite scene is the EMS scene. Nick's fourth favorite scene.
Okay, but the whole thing, or where does the scene start? Where does it end for you?
The shark bites off his arm.
Okay.
Shark bites off his arm, and it goes until the glass breaks. When the glass breaks, I end the
Yes,
scene there.
okay, fair.
We've already hit on a lot of the scenes, so I'll just read some trivia that I have for it. Samuel Jackson stated, working in the water so much wasn't just unpleasant. It actually led to an accident that made it into the final film. When we get Stellan Skarsgård hooked up to the helicopter and we're trying to get back to the elevator during the storm, the waves are supposed to rush in front of us and behind us. At one point, 3 tons of water got thrown on us by accident. We got swept towards those cargo bays, and everyone thought we were going into the drink. People were tumbling around this metal grating. We scrambled up and kept acting, but everyone was kind of upset because they had hit us full on with 3 tons of water. That was not supposed to happen, and we didn't have safety harnesses on, and we were falling around on the deck. But I thought it was pretty funny when I saw it in the final film. I said, oh, they kept that.
I feel like if you were hit full ton with 3 tons of water, it would do a hell of a lot.
Well,
of
it's
damage.
probably over a pretty large area.
Fair enough. I mean, that's got to be a pretty big wave then at that
Yeah.
point.
And I don't think all 3 tons hit him. It was just like 3 tons of water going in that direction. Because I'm with you too. Like 3 tons of water probably does more damage than throwing you against some crates.
Yeah,
You probably are going into the dink.
you got knocked the fuck out.
Yeah.
Nick, second favorite?
Second favorite scene was probably the one of the ending scenes there when she ends up cutting her hand, saying, you know, you might be as smart as shark, but you know you still have shark instincts, right? And then she jumps into the water in order to bring him back. That's kind of a longer scene because I also kind of include the part where LL Cool J like shoots the out of a 40-ton or
45-foot shark.
Right,
hitting me.
45-foot shark. You get the fin like in the hand, right? And he ends up getting stuck to it. So I think that's probably my second favorite scene of the final shark. That kind of climax at the end.
Yeah, because you've got it's my fault. I'm taking responsibility. I'll sacrifice my life for it.
Which in reading up, apparently they had an alternate ending where she survives and LL Cool J died.
Nope.
Yep.
They picked the right one.
Yeah.
100%. They picked,
They
picked the right ending.
When they screened that, nobody liked it, and so they had to reshoot it.
Yeah, Saffron Burrow's not likable in this movie.
No.
She cannot make it out alive. Clearly from the beginning.
Yeah. You're number 2.
Same as you. Same scene as you. Just the entire bringing the shark in, testing him, Skarsgård getting his arm bit off, the EMTs coming, the shark just dragging that helicopter
that's awesome.
all around.
The
so
strongest
cool.
cable you've ever seen in your life.
Yes.
I don't know whatever they had like to bring down that entire thing.
You don't need a cable
awesome.
that long
No.
on a rescue chopper.
No,
That strong, I
for
should
sure.
say. On
But good job for the Sharks for planning that it was going to get stalled and it was going to end up going back into the water. I mean, that's some grade A planning by those Sharks.
I forgot to mention when I mentioned this scene, like when after the water breaks the glass and the water is rushing through. I love how science just means nothing in this movie because they closed the door. There's way too much water.
No
There's
way.
way too much force.
They did it
Twice.
They did it
Yes.
twice.
That shit doesn't happen.
Can I say one thing that bothered me? This isn't about the scene, but speaking of science.
Yeah.
When Rappaport says the fences are 8 feet high, give or take a centimeter, you don't combine standard and metric.
No.
You go one or the other. Don't say give or take a centimeter. Say give or take a half an inch. Sorry, that bugged me.
Yeah, the one that got me was the fact that they can jump out of the water several times in order to get LL Cool J, which I'm sure we're all going to unanimously talk about here in a minute. But they can jump out of the water to do that, but at the end they can't clear it gets to be about a foot off the ground. Like you can't just jump over the fence. You're going to break through the steel part at the end.
The one shark jumped the 8-foot fence.
Right. Let's do a Free Willy scene here. Come on. Like let's get out into the open ocean.
That means top scene for everybody.
Hands down.
Is what?
Samuel L. Jackson.
No, my top scene is the final showdown.
Oh, okay.
Samuel
All right.
Jackson didn't make it in your top 4.
I know.
Wow.
I know.
Okay.
It's my number 1 honorable mention. But the final showdown was fun for me.
Okay.
LL Cool J killing the shark. I started it with your third favorite scene with Homegirl. I enjoyed watching this movie with my girlfriend because one of the funniest things she said about the movie, as soon as she got undressed, she was like, oh, yeah, because she's wearing a matching set today.
Of course.
Because that fucking happened.
Yep.
And LL Cool J's Shadow of Death prayer. I'm the baddest motherfucker here.
That was great.
Yep.
Love that.
Also appreciate this is how to make the perfect omelet.
Yes.
2 eggs, not 3. I have to say I use milk in my omelets. You know, he says it's a common mistake. I like milk in my omelets. I don't always keep sour cream and butter, around
It's a preference.
Yeah. Milk makes a good omelet. And I mean, depends on how much you eat. I'm doing a 3-egg omelet. I'm not going to 2.
Yeah, no, I'm a 3-egg omelet guy.
If I'm doing a 2-egg omelet, I need some sides.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to load the bacon up or something.
Some hash browns, some fried potatoes, something.
For sure.
A couple
For
things
sure.
of toast. 2-egg omelet, not gonna fill me
Not
up.
going to cut it.
I love seeing her die. I love that. I love the end of it. It's like, how many sharks were there? 3? And then that's more like it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I didn't put the Samuel Jackson death as the number 1 scene because it was just so short for me. Like it happened real quick, and I was like, I don't want that to make my top 4.
Yeah, that was my top scene for sure. Just because I kind of like I wasn't expecting it, and then it comes out and gets you. He definitely had the best death of all of the people in
By
this
far.
movie. By
Far.
And just the classic Samuel L. Jackson monologue.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's one of the better speeches, right? Starts talking about his experiences and what made him, right? It's got a
And
lot
how
of
we're going to get
character
out of
depth,
this. And
character development.
We ate
starts
2 people.
building it. Right. I mean, it talks cannibalism. How do you get out of a movie that talks about cannibalism, for God's sakes? But it ends up, just right out, just comes at you, grabs you. Which, fun fact, I actually turned the movie off for my wife. Like, we were watching it late at night. I'm like, okay, now go to bed. Like, that was where she ended watching it. I'm like, all right, you're not gonna get any sleep tonight. But it was just a great scene. One of the, that inspirational, like, motivational thing, that the speech he was going through and delivering. Also, you were saying the 1999, I would put it like on par to that Any Given Sunday speech that Al Pacino gives.
Every time you give 1 inch.
At 1 inch. It's about the 1 inch. Which
And
also
I mean,
came up-
as we all know, it is about that 1 inch.
Yeah, I was going to say that also came up with my wife last night. So we just an absolutely great scene. Really added a lot to this movie, and one of the best scenes I think Samuel L. Jackson has done.
Yeah, I cheated a little because I know these are 2 different scenes, but the 6 minutes of the movie from LL Cool J getting trapped to the shark to the Samuel L. Jackson scene, that's only about 6 or 7 minutes. And it's by far the best 6 or 7 minutes of the movie. Cool J, of course, the cook's going to die in his own oven.
Yep.
You ate my bird.
Oh, it was great.
And then into...
Bird deserved to die.
Oh, I like the bird.
Oh,
I like the bird.
The bird was one of my favorite characters.
He was an asshole.
Of course.
Made me happy when
He'd listen to a chef the entire time.
Not a very fulfilling snack, though. I feel like you could have gotten a lot of fish in the ocean that were probably just as filling.
Yeah, that bird can't do much for a shark.
But the shark knew that the bird meant something to LL Cool J.
Because it is a genius shark.
It is a genius shark.
But yeah, so I cheated a little bit, but both of those together, so close together, just that is an awesome 10-minute stretch of a movie.
Yes,
Yep, for sure.
That's it.
That was top 4.
Top 4.
Mount Rushmore is done.
I should have had Sam Jackson's death on my top 4.
We all make mistakes.
There were a lot of good scenes.
What was I doing?
There was a lot of good scenes. It's tough to pick.
Yeah.
Like Ebert said, it's just action set piece, action set piece, action set piece.
Yep.
One after another.
Yep. There was no good bathroom break spot in that movie.
First 30 minutes. That's it.
Yep. Well, I mean, you're gonna miss. Then you're gonna miss the boat scene. So.
After that.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't. She's trying to cure Alzheimer's. Who cares? Alzheimer's sucks.
They had to have a plot point, right?
Yeah.
They have to go at least somewhat deeper level. Otherwise, it's going to be Thor.
Jeez.
This guy hates Thor. The new one.
Love and Thunder.
It's terrible.
Character breakdowns?
Character breakdowns.
Who do you want to start with?
The hunky, the only Thomas Jane.
Fake Paul Walker.
Fake Paul Walker.
Poor man's Walker.
This was his film debut.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
Wow. Well done. Starts off with a bang.
Yeah.
Literally.
I like Thomas Jane in this movie. I feel like he did a good job as a leading man in not taking away from all the other parts of the movie, which sometimes happen.
Mm-hmm.
And he really lets the other characters show through without being just like a total dullard. So I enjoyed Thomas Jane in this movie.
Yeah.
I can see why it kind of vaulted his career.
I like his kind of relationship that he had with some of the other main characters, right? He kind of connects with everyone on a different level. The kind of budding romance with the, I'll call her a Nazi, was good in that, I will say. The all of a sudden, I'm a former prisoner and now having a budding relationship with like one of the smartest people that's going to cure Alzheimer's, I found a little interesting in the movie. But, having spent 2 years in Leavenworth and being on parole, I don't know what parole officer let him just go out in the middle of the ocean. But
I mean, what's he going to do out there?
good on him. Yeah. Apparently, you don't need a passport to go out in the middle of, we'll call it the Gulf in order to go out and do that.
Is Leavenworth a prison that people only spend 2 years in?
So I actually looked. Michael Vick was at Leavenworth.
Oh, and his was about 2 years.
This is about
too.
2 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's actually only a medium security prison. I thought that was like Supermax.
But I guess it's
level.
federal, right?
It
it's
is
all
a
federal crime.
It is a federal.
Okay.
So if you do some smuggling, dogfighting, smuggling, apparently it's got all kinds in there.
Well, I think Vic's was like crossing state lines to gamble was what they actually got him on.
I have no
or
idea.
something really very Jimmy Hoffa. No, not Jimmy Hoffa. Al Capone.
Al Capone.
Yeah.
I just know that Michael Vick loves dogs.
He it's not NAA. What is the PETA? Yeah, he does a lot of work with PETA now. So
I bet he does.
Hey, Michael Vick was given the key to the city of Dallas.
Really?
Yeah.
Dallas loves dogs too.
wow.
We're not proud of that here.
No,
but he did
no.
get it.
Was this pre-dog or post-dog?
Post-dog.
Post-dog. We gave him the key to the city.
I believe this is as he was playing for the Eagles, which I think people in Dallas had the biggest problem with. Not the dog thing.
I love
Where do
that.
we start on this? When there's so many things wrong with this. I can somehow accept the fact that they're super smart sharks over the fact that Dallas gave the keys to the city to Michael Vick.
Anyway, I don't know how we got off on a
Yeah.
how we tied Michael
So
Vick
anyway,
to this
good,
movie.
good character. Good
Yeah,
character.
yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Thomas Jane.
BJ, what were your thoughts?
Loved him. He's hunky. Great chin dimple.
So I think the new drinking game is every time you say hunky, I think that's going to be the new take a drink.
Yes.
All right.
Yep. Saffron Burrows. She was a bitch.
Hot.
Really interesting take on how to do a bad guy in a movie where essentially the bad guy's a fucking shark or three sharks.
Well thought out bad guy.
It was so I thought that was really interesting on how they kind of made her the bad guy without being the bad guy.
And I mean, honestly, I said she's a bitch. The only bitch move she did really was putting the shark back in the water.
No, she did illegal experiments on animals.
Yeah,
Well,
she broke the
So did Skarsgård, and that makes him a bitch too. But I'm like, just in the realm of the movie, the only bitch move she really did was putting the shark back in the water. Like, come on.
So are there 3 MCU ties in this movie?
Yes.
Samuel L. Jackson.
Samuel L. Jackson, yeah.
Thomas Jane is the
Punisher.
Sandman.
He's also the Punisher.
Okay.
It's not in the movie it's not in the Marvel universe now, but it's
but he's the Sandman in
Spider-Man.
Yeah, one of the shitty Spider-Man.
But even
one of the originals.
The third one. But even then that wasn't part of Marvel when that movie was made. So his Marvel connection is before Marvel was Marvel in the cinematic universe.
Well, he was Marvel in the last Spider-Man when they connected all the universes.
Oh no, I know, but I just mean like his initial Marvel connection was the Punisher in Spider-Man 3.
All right, so that's interesting. But yeah, I mean that's really the
Disney owns everything.
You know, I thought Saffron Burrows was good, not great. I thought the interesting thing was how they kind of made her the bad guy without being the typical bad guy.
I expected more from her death, right? So she has the great scene where, she sacrifices herself in order to do all that stuff and identifies that, the sharks need to die, and that switch flipped for her pretty quick. But then she jumps in the water, the pulley thing or wherever she's trying to get pulled back up, that falls off and she's back in the water. And then the shark just kind of comes and gets her. I expected more of, give me a Samuel L. Jackson fight or a suspenseful, heart-wrenching death or anything. It's just boom, done, dead.
I think a better death from her in that scene puts that scene in my Mount Rushmore.
Could be.
But I think that's what leaves it out. It's just kind of a meh.
What would have made that scene better if Thomas Jane didn't jump in after her? Like, you already had the gun.
Mm-hmm. You didn't need to. You could have just shot the shark.
Yeah.
And what was her plan, right? So she's gonna jump in the water and sacrifice herself. Was her plan to climb back up and then connect the battery and blow up the shark?
Who knows?
You are now leaving your plan to sacrifice yourself. The entire point of the plan is now dead. Like,
Well, and I think her plan changed. She's at that point, she's just like, okay, Preacher or Thomas Jane's going to shoot this shark when I do it.
They've given up on Preach.
And then Thomas Jane just jumps in the water after her.
Like, did you guys want a Saffron Burrows hunky Thomas Jane sex scene? Take a drink. I said hunky.
Yeah, we got it.
Yeah.
I feel like that's connecting too much of the good guy, bad guy. Like, she's already been established as the bad guy. He's already been established as, the good guy that knows all the answers. I would actually say he was the smartest, right? Forget Rappaport. Like, he was sitting there knowing how the sharks act and everything like that. Plus, he's got that prison knowledge.
When
right?
the shit hit the fan, the scientists were the dumbest people on the ship.
Yes. Yep. It was the guy on parole and the chef that were the smartest people.
And Rappaport third, who's an engineer.
Rappaport, I will say, like, he knew the layout of the ship a lot better.
He just never been in an intense situation and he had to keep calm for.
I mean, that's Caltech, right?
Yeah.
He's not street smart. He's book smart.
Yeah.
And I felt like with him, they kept trying to frame of reference me in the vessel, and I never knew where they were, nor did I care.
No, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. For some reason, half of the floor is flooded. I don't know what's partitioning that in order to, like. I was a little surprised there were only 3 levels to that ship when all is said and done. I would have thought there were a lot more. I would have, if this was a 5 or 6 level, boat or ship or whatever we're calling it. I think we could have had a good 2.5 hour, like a good Marvel length movie.
I don't know if it needed to be Marvel length. An hour 45 was good.
It was good.
Yeah.
Could have been great.
Okay.
Could have been on the Mount Rushmore horror movies.
Fair. Ladies love Cool J.
Yeah, they do. Great bald head on Cool J.
Great.
Yeah, he looked incredible.
Definitely one of the best performances, I'll say, of the Cool J era.
Mm-hmm.
And I will say, he just takes the cake, right? He gives that good comedic performance in it and just delivers at the right moments. We've talked about a lot of his scenes already on the Mount Rushmore. He delivers, right? He plays a little bit of the token black guy, but he brings comedy to it and saying, black guys never make it out of this.
He
right?
ups the token black character
absolutely
several notches.
By bringing that into the actual movie, it just makes it better.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. Pseudo breaking down the fourth wall.
Absolutely. But I gotta say though, he talks about there's got to let the white people start doing that, right? He starts making that comment to Samuel L. Jackson a little earlier. But yet you're coming out here as a cook in the middle of the ocean where,
right.
He kills 2 of the 3 sharks.
Yeah. I mean, very fair. I mean, he kills 2 of the 3 2 of the 3 things, but he swims.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Because, black people can swim.
They can. Absolutely. You see in the movie.
Yes.
It is true.
Jacob, what do you got to add on Ladies Love Cool J?
Nothing. We hit it all.
All right.
Sam the Man Jackson. Without Samuel L. Jackson, without LL Cool J, this movie's not good.
Oh, no.
Nope.
And I love the 15 minutes of Samuel L. Jackson in a movie where he's just out there just firing fastballs at 98 and doesn't give a shit.
Yep.
How close to this was him recording Star Wars Episode 1?
Phantom Menace came out this year.
Okay.
The same year.
Feels like a lot longer time period between those two, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's killing it. He's just chewing up the scenery. When he's on screen, you don't even notice anybody else.
I mean, I'd say he was at the top of his game, but the dude's still killing it 20 years later.
Yeah. I don't know if he's ever gotten worse.
No. And
I don't think so.
And he stayed the same age the entire time. Like Nick Fury today, put him side by side to Phantom Menace, Samuel L. Jackson, I don't think you see much of a difference.
Before watching this movie, I did not think him and Stellan Skarsgård were basically the same age.
Oh my goodness.
I thought Skarsgård was 15 years older.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's nuts that they're the same age.
Yeah.
That blows my mind. Speaking of Skarsgård, he's the only character we have left.
I'm a big Stellan Skarsgård fan.
Me too.
I love how creepy he is.
Yes.
One of the best creepy faces in movies.
For sure. Typecast as the brilliant professor, as we talked about.
Yep.
the obviously the genius scientist here peeing into the wind, yet shows up pantsless in the first 2 Thor movies, like being the mad professor, right? Completely typecast, but just an excellent character.
I wish he would have stayed a little longer. I wish we'd have gotten a little more of him.
Yeah.
But his death sets everything up.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he was Stellan Skarsgård at the time of this movie.
Definitely turn the tide and brings kind of the performance of the Sharks, right? Really telling them that they're fucked, like really at that moment. And you can't do it without him, without that era. Should have probably had a few more lines, I think, in it, but definitely a great performance.
Rappaport? We need to talk about Rappaport? Other than
I feel we already did.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Way too good a chemistry with him and Cool J. They need to do a buddy cop movie, like Nick said.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Do that now.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that in 2022.
LL Cool J looks the same. Rappaport does not.
Black don't crack, baby.
A lot of things have changed on Rappaport. It's not aged quite as well.
Yeah. But he's still
got a
funny.
following.
I still
Still got a
enjoy him
great
in everything
following.
he does.
Absolutely great actor.
Trivia Man. You dropped some in earlier in this episode.
Just a little bit.
You got some more for us?
Of course I have more. I always have more. So much trivia all the time. Thomas Jane actually had to swim alongside a real-life shark in the movie. He was only allowed to do it after all the scenes had wrapped.
Nope.
I'm out. Get a stunt double.
Nope. Not it.
Get Paul Walker's brother. He looks enough like me. Go swim with the shark, Paul Walker's brother.
Right. This is the first movie Stephen King saw after his nearly fatal encounter with a van. He stated, quote, "My first trip after being smacked by a van and almost killed was to the movies.
I remember that.
I went in my wheelchair and loved every minute of it."
Can you get a better review than that?
And
Stephen King?
no
a guy
kidding.
that hated The Shining
Yes.
loved this movie.
That's fantastic. And that was the other movie that he did was The Mist, right? Because he did The Mist right after they did this. I recently watched that. That's on Netflix now.
That's Thomas Jane too, right?
Thomas Jane, yeah. Great movie.
Yeah,
Great
incredible
fucking
movie.
Haven't seen it.
It's good.
It's on
Okay.
Netflix. You got to watch it.
All right.
The filmmakers watched videos of real Makos swimming frame by frame, then borrowed equipment and technology that's typically used in Boeing 747s and built the sharks as self-contained units. The remote-controlled machines had 1,000 horsepower engines weighted at 8,000 pounds and swam on their own without the use of external wires or apparatuses up to 30 miles per hour.
I feel like they use those same fans in LL Cool J's music video.
There is a LL Cool J music video
Must see TV.
for his final song in this movie. It's incredible.
It's
Sharknado.
incredible.
Brings you back to the good old days in 90s like music videos. Just fantastic.
Lots of Cool J nipples in that video.
Yes.
Too many. I didn't.
Well, there's only 2, but
Sometimes there's 3. You never know. You got that little surprising one every once in a while.
I love that. I just love that they actually built the fucking sharks.
that's got to be a huge part of that budget.
Yes. Special effects team headed by Walt Conti spent 8 months on animatronic sharks. The number one thing about capturing sharks is getting their energy. They're always cruising kind of slowly, and then they snap and just go with this incredible burst of energy. And that way, most of the time, sharks are somewhat lethargic. So probably our biggest challenge is replicating the speed and energy for those lunges. Also, a shark's jaws actually float in their skulls, giving them a specific kind of motion. As far as I know, we're the first animatronics team to totally mimic the multifaceted jaw of the shark.
That's cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. They built 4.5 sharks, 3 15-foot Makos, which played the first gen sharks, and 1.5 generation 2 sharks, which represented the first generation's 26-foot long Prongi. The effect was quite realistic. Skarsgård remarked, "The first time I saw one of those animatronic sharks, I thought it was a real one." Samuel Jackson recalled, when they first brought the animatronic shark into the lab, we were all in awe of the size of this machine. It was a real monster. I would walk up to it slowly and touch it, and they said it felt like a real shark. The gills moved, and it had a mind of its own sometimes. The director recounted, one shark was sitting in McAllister's room, and just as we were getting the computer programming finished, All of a sudden, it leapt up and went through the ceiling. All these 2x4s flying away like matchsticks. It gave us an idea of the awesome power of these creatures and how careful we had to be in terms of the cast and crew being close to them and how the computer program had to have fail-safe procedures so nobody got hurt.
And you swim after that? Like after that movie is wrapped, knowing all that, you jump in the water with it?
Yeah.
No, I'm good.
Rennie Harlan said this is the hardest film he's ever made.
I can see that.
Yeah.
I believe that for sure.
Samuel L. Jackson told the Las Vegas Sun that he was motivated to take it apart because, quote, I watched a lot of monster movies growing up, and we would go home and someone would pretend to be Dracula or Frankenstein and chase us, and we would run from them. This was an opportunity to finally be in a movie like that and run away from something that's bigger and stronger with sharp teeth and claws. I got to say stuff like, look out, go this way, even though I didn't really get to be that panicky.
I feel like Dracula and Frankenstein haven't aged well. Like, my kids now are not afraid of Dracula or Frankenstein. It needs to come back.
Yeah, but just with what we've done since then, they're not that frightening.
So now you have, I think the Twilight series has done a lot for werewolves and stuff. So I'm not sure Dracula has quite held up as well.
You know, it was a good Dracula movie, and it was horrible at the same time. Was Van Helsing with Hugh Jackman.
I hadn't seen it.
It's horrible, but it's also amazing. So there wasn't a huge budget for this movie. Director Rennie Harlan stated in the DVD commentary, there was lots of discussions about how we should have the parrot. Should we not have the parrot? So we opted to have the bird, but we couldn't afford a Hollywood parrot, a parrot that is fully trained and comes with its professional trainers and does tricks and speaks on cue and so on. So we decided to go with a parrot from Mexico City. The production actually used two parrots, one that was good at flying and one that was adept at sitting on LL Cool J's shoulder.
So that might be the best bit of trivia I've ever heard in my life. Like,
We couldn't afford a Hollywood parrot.
they built these giant sharks, but they had to cap out on a parrot.
You used 747 parts to build a shark.
But you had to cap out on a parrot. That comes with trainers.
I love Hollywood.
Like,
It's so stupid.
I've been to a bunch of houses that have parrots that'll sit there and talk. They don't need a trainer. You just take the fucking bird.
It's the only Samuel L. Jackson movie where another character uses his trademark motherfucker, where he does not. LL Cool J says it towards the end when Susan Carter and he are in the tank filling up the water. He is trying to psych them up for the swim to the surface and starts out with the Lord's Prayer that varies when he goes, because I'm the meanest motherfucker in the valley.
If you're I didn't know you could trademark motherfucker, but if you're going to give it up to somebody, you're going to give it up to LL.
He says a good motherfucker.
Yeah. Rennie Harlan admitted the idea of abruptly killing off Russell Franklin at 2/3 of the movie was borrowed from the similar fate of Tom Seckert in Alien. Both men were the natural leaders of their respective groups, leaving the remaining survivors in utter despair. And both were the best known actor in the cast at the time, thereby making their premature demise extra shocking and unexpected. The impact of Jackson's sudden death was intensified by making his preceding speech somewhat long and corny. After watching the scene with an audience for the first time and hearing them scream in horror and fear, Harlan said that this scene paid off for the entire movie.
100%. 100%. Couldn't have done that better.
We already talked about this. Saffron Burrows was supposed to be the hero at the end of the film.
Yeah.
And audiences hated that.
No, thank you.
So they made some quick edits and reshots, making LL Cool J the hero. And everyone's saying he was a pretty cool guy. Yeah. And I quote, the three sharks are killed in the same ways in the same order as the three sharks in Jaws. So blown up in Jaws, electrocuted in Jaws 2, and incinerated in Jaws 3D.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's right. Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, I thought you were talking about the first Jaws. I was like, there was only one shark, and it was not electrocuted.
No. Just the three sharks that were in each movie.
Yeah.
The body count is 9. 4 killed by shark attacks, 4 by explosions, and 1 by drowning. 10 if you count the bird.
I count the bird.
Who drowned?
Skarsgård.
Are we counting that?
I mean, that's the way he died.
Dude lost a fucking arm.
That's not how he died, though.
Okay.
It was tourniqueted.
Yeah. Which took
is that a word?
It is now.
Which took way too long, by the way. Like they didn't tourniquet him until they got into the elevator. Like
yeah, that's the first thing you should have done.
Absolutely. Not a lot of smart people.
That's my trivia. Because we've already talked about the similarities between that and Jurassic Park. And that was the last bit that I had. We've already touched on that.
So why did they let Skarsgård drown? Like, they seem to be pretty hungry. Like, they ate the fucking bird. Why would they not eat Skarsgård?
Who knows? Don't bring logic to this movie.
Overthinking the movie. Yeah, it's a movie about smart sharks who can turn on ovens and open doors. Like,
Correct.
You ready for movie impersonation?
Oh, yes.
All right, Nick. So we'll give you the choice. You can do the impersonation with us.
Yeah, I'm gonna pass on this one.
You can do your own impersonation, or you can rate ours with one or both of us being mad at you.
Option 3.
All right. LL Cool J?
Hello, Cool J.
As I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I grab my giant ass cock and balls and say, "Suck on this, motherfucker!" That's all I got.
Damn.
That's all I got.
Well, that was pretty good. All right, so my LL Cool J impersonation. It's all about Einstein's theory of relativity. You know, you grab your dick and you jerk off. Feels like it takes forever. You with the pretty woman? Might be the same amount of time, but it feels like it just takes a second. Relativity, baby.
That's what Einstein was talking about.
That's what he's talking about.
I went to Caltech for 4 years. That's the best impression, the best explanation of physics I've ever heard.
You still win that one, though.
Yes. So, Nick, you gave this movie a 8.5?
I'll give it definitely
Okay.
maybe the over on the 8.5 out of 10. But yeah,
If you had to do a
solid.
full scale, you'd bump it up to a 9.
If I had to do a full scale, it'd be a 9.
Anything else you want to add for your review of the movie?
No, I'm missing the Free Willy scene with the sharks escaping, with the water dripping off with someone waiting. But no, just a solid, great movie.
All right. Jacob?
I'm going 7.7.
Ooh,
Okay.
all right.
So if I had to do a full one review, 8.
Sure.
But I don't want to give it an 8 for whatever reason. Like, it was a good 7.7. Like, I've rewatched this movie 6 times in my life. I'll probably watch it 6 more times by the time I die.
And again, movie ratings not created equal. We're not saying this is as good as an Oscar film that we would get,
No.
This is a stupid ass.
Solid way to spend a couple hours.
Exactly.
Like, definitely on the list that I want to watch with my kids one day.
I had it at about a 7.4. It'd have moved above an 8 had they knocked that first 30 minutes down to 15 minutes.
Wow.
I think that moves us up to an 8 for me. But it's fun as shit.
Didn't think I'd get the highest rating of the 3 of us today, but all right.
We're harsh.
I see that. You're critics.
We seem to be getting harsher as we do this podcast more.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think you get harsher.
Okay.
I mean, I'm over here with Jay and Silent Bob being a 9.
Oh yeah, that's a solid 9.
Yeah.
No, that's a 9.
Yeah. But I mean, and harsh is all relative too.
Just like Einstein.
Just like Einstein. And jerking off and having sex.
Should they remake the movie?
Yeah, all the time. There's so many things that we're trying to cure. Alzheimer's, dementia, cancer, whatever. Do it with sharks. Make them smart. Whatever.
I feel like they could have started with something different than sharks. For sure. But yeah, I definitely feel like you can redo this movie now with a few of the same characters, right? I think LL Cool J, right, definitely still fits. The scientist, right, he can definitely come in here. He didn't show up in the last 2 Thor movies, so he's looking for work.
I think he's doing just fine.
But I think several of those characters are definitely playable in the remake. But to be fair, they've just made 2 and 3 relatively recently, which we just found out. So I'm not sure if they're going to go full reboot or if they're just going to make 4, and why not just do it again?
Yeah, and I think do it more in the sense of just the big budget Hollywood animal bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think that can be redone.
Your Ghost of Darkness.
Sure.
Yeah.
Anaconda.
Yeah.
Whatever. Who cares? But the exact same movie, nah, it'll just miss it won't be as good as this.
I want Ghost of Darkness on this podcast. What an incredible Val Kilmer movie.
Ugh.
Never saw it.
It's something. Okay. It'll be fun to talk about.
It's a lot of lions eating people, and you get to watch it.
Okay, adding that to the Netflix list.
Anybody you would recast in this movie?
Nah.
96. I would probably recast the wife of the scientist, probably. Like
the blonde.
She didn't really leave an impression, right? She played the oh my god, my husband's dead. Like I don't understand why she was there. LL Cool J couldn't bring his family. Like I don't feel like she really.
She was a marine biologist.
Was she?
Yeah.
Didn't really say anything and had literally the worst death. Like she just sat in the water like after that scene for like 4 minutes. And then the shark just kind of ate her. Like, I don't know what happened.
It was really lame, especially after the shark took down a helicopter and two pilots.
It was, she had a very just non-stay power role in that. I probably would have recast her, but outside of that, I mean, Samuel L. Jackson was solid. LL Cool J was solid, right? A lot of the other guys were just really good roles.
Yeah, I like the chemistry that everybody kind of had together. The scientist, you're right, she's the weakest character in the movie.
Yeah.
But she doesn't have a lot of lines, and she dies pretty early. So, I wouldn't have a problem recasting it, but keeping it the way it is perfectly fine with me.
She died after after Samuel L. Jackson, I think, though, right? It was right around the same time.
Who?
I think you might be right. I think it might be after.
Yeah. So she stuck around longer, but just not.
Yeah.
Not a role
not very memorable.
No.
She didn't even make our character breakdown.
No.
Put it that way.
And she was in a large part of the movie.
So we all like the movie. I'm sure not everybody on IMDb liked this movie.
I need to.
Let's hear what they will have to say.
So I have 3 reviews here.
Okay.
I have 1 10 out of 10 and 2 1 out of 10s.
Okay.
The first 1 out of 10 I'm going to give you, he honestly should have put it at about a 5.
Okay.
Everything he says is correct about the movie. He shouldn't have given a 1 out of 10. But 10 out of 10 by Leesman 2635714, titled Fantastic Shark Attack Movie If You Know What You're Getting Into. This was never written as a documentary on shark behavior. If you're looking for a realistic shark attack movie, go for Open Waters or The Reef. This is an action-packed, silly science, deep-sea adventure for people who are looking for a film where the shark is basically the Halloween villain, Mike Myers.
Uh-huh.
He will come after relentlessly. He's always one step ahead. He's smarter than you think, stronger than you think, and knows exactly who you are and where you are. This movie is fantastic. The cast is amazing. The soundtrack is incredible. This is probably my favorite shark film. See it and see it again.
And that gave it a 1 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10?
That's a 10 out of 10.
I was going to say, I'm like, that does not sound like a 1 out of 10 review.
Okay. No, that's a 10. That's a 10,
right.
10 for 10, baby.
Yep.
He's not wrong in any of that.
Nope.
No, I don't know how you give that a 10 out of 10. Like, that's a high bar. I mean, coming from someone apparently... Now I say a 9. Now I'm just having second thoughts, but
no, 8.5. There's nothing wrong with an 8.5 score.
But even the difference between a 9 movie and a 10 movie is big.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this one by Driftma 26, 1 out of 10, titled So Wonderfully Bad. I have given this film the rather low rating of 1, which of course means that it's truly an awful film. Having said that, though, I will say that I wholeheartedly recommend it. It is in no way mediocre. It is spectacular in its descent into awfulness. It can never tell if it wants to be camp or a serious thriller. As such, it gives us scenes in where the story is taken far too seriously, and other scenes that have taken a clue from such recent fare as Scream. I don't know what the hell the makers of this film were thinking, but they managed to produce a horrible film that is absolutely fun to watch. So pop up some popcorn, sit back with some witty friends, and then pop in this movie. It will provide a good bit of amusement.
that sounds like a 6.
Yeah, that's
That
a
sounds,
6.
That sounds like a 6.
Yeah.
If you recommend it to the movie to people, it's got to be above.
I mean, a
5.
1 out of 10, you're walking out of the theater.
Yes.
Right? Like, that's I have trouble with that.
So I was upset with his 1 out of 10, but I wanted to throw it in there because this guy liked the movie.
Yeah, for sure.
Like you said, it should have been a 5 or a 6 at worst.
Yeah.
Now for Insidious 18.
Oh, I can't wait for this one.
1 out of 10. I'd have pushed Saffron Burrows in the water in the first 10 minutes.
Not wrong.
This is an absolutely atrocious movie about a bunch of incredibly stupid scientists getting eaten by smart sharks. If I had seen 2 hurricanes on the radar, count them, 2 days before they hit, and never mind the genius cast doesn't notice until about 15 minutes before they hit, I would have thrown Saffron Burrows into the water to make the sharks happy and moved to Kansas. And I like Sam Jackson. Better when he gets eaten by velociraptors. Deep Blue Sea takes the level of cinematic implausibility to new lows. And the characters are so stupid, they could have been killed by sea urchins. Ugh.
I feel like you can't put yourself in this movie. You can't put yourself in a "what would I do" type scenario. Like when the second you do that, your plot's broken.
Yes, because you never. First of all, I'd never put human brain cells into a shark.
Probably wouldn't start with sharks again. Yeah, probably start with
may start with sea urchins.
Maybe a rat, maybe a mouse, something where I could be on land.
And then, second of all, I was about to say, like, I certainly wouldn't be going out to the middle of the fucking ocean on a shark testing boat, submarine, floating apparatus, whatever the fuck it was.
Yeah, let's take a second and figure out what this place was developed by. Like, for what reason did they build this giant thing in the middle of the ocean to start some experimental research? Probably.
So I think they brought it up at the start of the film. It was built as a refueling station for submarines.
That might make sense.
And then they added all the labs.
And with a giant explosion at the top of it, where were they getting the power from? Did they talk about that aspect?
Nope.
Big ass generators.
Which are at the top?
Sure.
And
no, they're on the side. They actually went and like turned off the fuel and everything when the hurricanes are coming.
Okay.
They did that at the beginning of the movie too.
But the propane's still there for the for the chef, right? When they have the explosions.
You gotta eat.
Well, right. Again, I'm putting myself in inside of the just a great
But you
movie.
can't do with this movie.
Right, just a great fucking
Samuel L. Jackson was never shown being eaten by the raptors in Jurassic Park.
No, it was a scene that was actually never even filmed.
Should have been.
Definitely should have been.
Would have been fantastic.
They were supposed to.
Should have been.
A hurricane destroyed the set and they weren't able to film it.
Maybe not show. Maybe Sam Jackson probably shouldn't be around hurricanes. Like, are we starting to see something bad here?
Right?
Yeah.
Where was he for
I bring the hurricane, motherfucker.
There's a trend. Yeah.
Was he around New Orleans during Katrina?
You know, now I think we can let's have a podcast about that. All right.
Where
was Samuel L. Jackson for Katrina?
Would you guys recommend this movie to people?
To everybody that I know.
Every single person.
Yeah. First of all, I tell them it's dumb as shit.
Yeah. I would show up on a podcast to recommend this movie.
Fair enough.
Movie gets a thumbs up from all 3 of us.
All 3 of us.
2 thumbs, remembering my first time.
Yeah.
One in the pink and one in the stink.
There you go.